Hey everyone, buckle up, because today we've got a story that could change everything for anyone holding Iraqi dinar or watching global currency markets. Imagine this: one of the biggest, most powerful banks in the world, that's JP Morgan Chase and Co., suddenly steps into the spotlight with major moves tied to Iraq's currency system. Could this be the moment investors have been waiting for? Could this be the start of a real reset? Stick around, because in the next 22 minutes, yes, that's the plan. We're diving deep, breaking it down in plain, straightforward English. The kind that anybody can understand. Me's. Whether you're new to Forex or you've been watching the dinar world for a while. Right from the start, it's important to see why JP Morgan's involvement matters so much. This isn't some random rumor or weekend social media hype. When JP Morgan puts its weight behind something, it's a sign that institutional credibility is on the line, and institutions don't gamble their reputation lightly. If they're engaging with Iraq's currency framework, that suggests groundwork may already be laid, contracts being drafted, regulatory approvals under review, infrastructure being tested. That's more than talk, that's serious behind the scenes preparation for holders of Iraqi dinar. This could mark a turning point, a moment where revaluation moves from hope to something potentially actionable. Now, you might be wondering, what does currency transformation even look like in practical terms? It's not a quick, overnight magic trick. It involves a series of coordinated steps. Things like recalibrating exchange rate mechanisms, upgrading banking protocols, facilitating international convertibility, ensuring liquidity reservoirs, and harmonizing compliance with global financial standards. When a bank like JP Morgan becomes part of that process, it means the system isn't being built on shaky ground. It means someone with global reach and deep regulatory experience is ensuring the parts are being assembled carefully. If all this progresses smoothly, it could pave the way for Iraqi dinar to gain much stronger international recognition. Let's get real about what this could mean for investors and holders of Iraqi dinar. First, enhanced liquidity. If global banking networks begin to accept and process dinar transactions, it suddenly becomes easier to convert, exchange, or transfer across borders. That alone reduces a lot of friction. Second, legitimacy. Having a top-tier international bank involved sends a message to other financial institutions, governments, and large-scale investors that the dinar isn't a fringe currency anymore. It's part of something being taken seriously. Third, potential market momentum. Once liquidity and legitimacy align, market psychology can shift rapidly. Demand increases, confidence rises, and what once felt speculative starts to look strategic. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's critical to remember nothing's guaranteed until it's official. Until you see formal announcements from Iraqi monetary authorities, from JP Morgan itself, or from major global banking networks, this remains potential. The fact that preparation may be underway doesn't mean a reset is locked in. Markets are unpredictable. Geopolitics, regulatory roadblocks, global economic conditions, any of these can derail even the most carefully laid plans. So if you hold dinar, treat these developments as a signal of possibility, not a promise of profit. So why now? What conditions have changed in 2025 to make this moment possible or even plausible? Over the past years, Iraq has seen gradual economic stabilization. Oil revenues, while still volatile, have helped rebuild fiscal balance. There have been moves toward modernizing banking infrastructure, improving regulatory frameworks, and enhancing oversight of financial flows. These are the kinds of reforms needed to support international banking participation. Combine that with a global environment increasingly hungry for emerging market opportunities, and you get a window where ambitious currency frameworks might attract serious institutional interest. JP Morgan's involvement might just be the signal that Iraq edged into that window and brought the key players in. Another layer to this: global perception and political climate. If global powers and large financial players view Iraq as stabilizing politically, economically, institutionally, that reduces risk from their standpoint. Risk assessment is central to whether a bank like JP Morgan would even consider exposure. So the fact that they may be participating suggests those assessments might have improved. That doesn't mean all political risk is gone, but it does hint that the balance between risk and reward may have shifted enough to make the gamble worth it. From a psychological and community perspective, this could be huge for dinar holders. For years, many have held on, waiting, watching, hoping. There's been a lot of frustration, cynicism, and fear of scams or false promises. But institutional involvement, especially on this level, could restore hope and inject renewed energy into the dinar community. Suddenly, maybe someday starts to feel more like maybe very soon, that can influence behavior. Investors might hold longer, groups might consolidate, and insider networks might start watching global moves more carefully. It also could impact future expectations, how holders plan for their money. Instead of thinking short-term speculation, some might begin to plan longer-term strategies, savings, conversion timing, perhaps even partial diversification. Knowing that there's increased credibility might encourage a more cautious but hopeful approach, retaining enough to benefit if a reset happens, but not so much that one bet breaks financial safety. Of course, there are voices urging caution, and they deserve to be heard. Currency transformations are delicate, complicated, and subject to all kinds of unpredictable forces, from geopolitical turbulence, changes in global oil prices, to shifting global banking regulations. Even if initial steps go smoothly, delays are common. Sometimes partnerships falter, sometimes external pressure, sanctions, regulatory scrutiny, or economic crisis abroad can derail a plan entirely. For every success story, there are cautionary tales where optimism faded under harsh realities. If you hold dinar, this might be a moment to reevaluate your game plan, but that doesn't mean panic or abandon hope. Instead, stay informed, monitor credible financial news, watch for formal statements from banks, Iraqi monetary authorities, or major global institutions. Be wary of rumors, especially ones promising overnight riches. And if you choose to act, whether that means holding, converting, or partially liquidating, do it with a clear understanding of risk, not blind faith. Let's talk about what you should watch for as concrete indicators that real transformation may be unfolding. First, official documentation, memoranda of understandings, MoUs, contracts involving international banks and Iraqi financial institutions, changes in banking regulation or monetary policy language referencing foreign exchange protocols. Second, public statements by banks or Iraqi financial authorities confirming cooperation or upcoming reforms. Third, movement in foreign exchange markets, legitimate volume, movement in dinar value, credible trading platforms offering exchanges, not shady forums or black market dealers. Fourth, regulatory compliance, transparency, international oversight, anti-money launderings, AML frameworks. At the same time, watch for red flags, sudden hype on obscure websites or social media channels claiming guaranteed revaluation this weekend. Those are almost always scams, promises of fixed high exchange rates with no official backing, huge warning signs, offers to reserve conversions, or guarantee privileged rates unless backed by verifiable documents and big institutions. Likely scams. We've seen too many of these over the years, and most ended in disappointment for investors. If you're managing your holdings, security should be a top priority. That means making sure your physical notes, if you hold paper dinar, are stored safely and are authentic. Proper serial numbers, clean condition, not damaged, and ideally verified by a reliable authority. If you're holding digital or bank-linked dinar, say if such services exist where you are, make sure your account credentials are secure, follow banking best practices, and avoid sharing sensitive information on unverified platforms. This is especially important given the history of scams in currency-related spaces. It's also a time to think long-term. If a reset or revaluation happens, or even if the currency becomes more stable, this could open doors beyond just conversion profits. There could be opportunities for remittances, investments, trade deals, or regional currency partnerships. For people connected to Iraq economically, either through business, travel, family, or diaspora, a stable, internationally recognized dinar could offer new financial flexibility. But with that long-term potential comes the need for strategy and patience. A reset, if it happens, might not be immediate or might unfold over months or even years. Economics are messy, global finance moves slow, and even once reforms begin, there could be multiple stages: soft launch, limited convertibility, phased exchange windows, compliance rollouts, maybe even staggered revaluation. That means there could be volatility ahead, both in value and in access. Having a clear, patient mindset matters more than chasing rumors or quick gains. Another important piece: global partnerships. If JP Morgan's involvement is real and serious, it could attract other major banks, investors, and even global institutions to look again at Iraq. That could lead to broader reforms, better financial governance, improved foreign investment rules, enhanced transparency, maybe even economic diversification beyond oil. For dinar holders, that's significant because a stable, diversified Iraqi economy supports long-term currency stability, not just speculative spikes. Still, even with all this optimism, few people outside the core financial world have full visibility into what's going on behind the curtain. Banking negotiations, regulatory compliance, international approvals, many of those steps happen quietly, which is why it's crucial for anyone interested to maintain healthy skepticism and demand evidence. When official news does drop, dig deeper. Who's reporting it? What institutions are involved? What documentation exists? And always consider the possibility of delays, reversals, or unexpected global events disrupting plans. If you're watching this as a curious observer, not an investor, you might still want to pay attention, because what happens with the Iraqi dinar could ripple across regional markets, influence trade, affect foreign exchange corridors, and impact diaspora communities. Even if you don't hold any dinar personally, the bigger picture, stability, global banking integration, economic reform, could have broader geopolitical and economic consequences worth noting. Let's also consider one more critical factor: timing. Suppose all goes according to plan, reforms progress, global banking networks integrate, public confidence returns. Even then, the actual conversion or revaluation might not happen overnight. There could be phased rollouts, gradual unlocking, or targeted windows for exchange. That means there may be a waiting period, possibly months or more, where volatility is high and the path unclear. That's why it's essential to stay grounded, avoid panic, and resist pressure from hype-driven voices promising instant riches. And for those who are skeptical, that's okay. Healthy skepticism is necessary. The history of currency speculation is filled with broken promises, scams, inflated expectations. Some investors have lost money because they believed rumors more than facts. Your doubt can protect you from making rushed decisions or being swayed by fear or greed. In fact, combining optimism with caution may be the wisest stance right now. Before we move on, a quick personal note: if you're holding Iraqi dinar, this might be a unique moment to pause, reflect, and maybe revisit your plan, not with blind hope, but with eyes wide open. Evaluate how much you own, what risks you're comfortable with, what other financial goals you have. Consider diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And always treat information with a critical mind. Hope is good, but evidence is better. As we near the end of today's update, let's take a step back and zoom out. The idea of a reset for the Iraqi dinar isn't just about short-term profit. It's about transformation, economic stabilization, global reintegration, institutional legitimacy. That kind of shift doesn't just impact currency holders, it changes financial infrastructure, trade potential, and trust in a country's monetary system. If reforms succeed, the benefits could extend far beyond speculative gains. That said, yes, this remains a high-stakes, high-uncertainty scenario. There are many moving parts, many unknowns. And while JP Morgan's involvement is a powerful signal, it's not a guarantee. Anyone who tells you otherwise is likely banking on hype, not facts. It's the smartest approach. Whether you're a long-time holder, a curious investor, or simply an observer, is to stay alert, stay informed, and stay patient. So there you have it, a breakdown of why JP Morgan's potential involvement in Iraq's currency system could be a game changer, why it matters, what it might mean, and what it doesn't. Why now might be a turning point, but also why nothing is assured until official word comes through. Whether you hold dinar or just watch from the sidelines, this is a story worth following. If you found this helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future updates. Because if anything changes, I'll be here to take you through it step by step. Sala, without the rumors, without fluff, just straight facts and perspective. And if you're holding dinars, stay calm, stay secure, and stay ready. This could be a beginning, but as always, timing, patience, and clarity matter most.